Thank you very much once again for making some time here this morning to talk a little wagon wheel football with head coach Sean Lewis. A bit of housekeeping here on the front end since this is the last Saturday game for a while. We're going to keep our press conference for next week still on Monday at 11:30 and then move to Fridays for the next two following that. So it'll be Monday, October 24th, then Friday, November 4th, and Friday, November 11th. We'll keep all the same times at 11:30. Then fittingly, we'll flip back to Mondays as we close the year on a Saturday. So always fun when the schedule gets turned upside down. So I'll be sending out some reminders to let you guys know when we'll be meeting as a group. With that, Coach, just put Toledo to bed as we focus on obviously a big and fun rivalry week.
Yeah, cleaned up the tape yesterday with the guys. Lots to learn from it. Was really pleased with the way that we started and the intensity that we came out with. And then obviously got to handle the adversity. When the momentum goes to shift, we can't flinch. We got to dig in and we got to fight. We're a really good team, and we got to believe in that. We got to know in that, and we got to have confidence in that. From the work that we put in throughout the course of the week. So talk to the guys, obviously, again, about this big important week. There's a lot on the line. There's a new staff over there that's taking the rivalry the right way. We know that this is not a typical week. This is not a normal week. This one's different. And this one's important for all of Northeast Ohio. This one's important for Kent. And we have to earn the right yet again to hang that wheel back in our locker room when this game's over on Saturday.
Let's go around the room with some questions. Let's start with the Record Courier's Alan Muff. Alan, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, just when, you look back on the film there and like you said, that great start and then things got away, kind of what specifically did you see that maybe you didn't see last week as the game was going on?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that I didn't see, when reviewing the tape that we didn't see live and in person. I just thought it was a matter of the intensity and the focus and the attention to detail with our techniques and our fundamentals that we did a really, really good job of initially. We had great pad level, we had great technique, we had great strain, and it led to good results. But then you felt the momentum kind of shift and the wind come out of the sails a little bit there, when we gave up that return and then gave up a touchdown, and we just got to dig in. We got to play our brand of football. And we got to play with our technique, our pad level, our fundamentals to collectively together as one. And when we do those things, we have really, really good success. And we got to have the discipline and maturity to continue to do that, play in and play out for 4 quarters of a ball game.
Just with the deep balls, specifically that went for scores, we kind of talked after the game. You guys seem to be in pretty good position for those. What do you do a little differently to come up with those plays?
We'll continue putting emphasis on it in practice. I know that Coach Brookins and Coach Cox emphasize that with their guys each and every single day. It's one of our everyday drills to where we're going to work in phase, out of phase with the guys to be able to track, lean, and locate the ball. And so obviously that's a skill that we got to refine. We got to continue to do a better job with, but our guys are in good position and we got to do a good job of tracking, leaning, locating, finding the ball, and making a play on the football.
Offensively, you mentioned something when you're actually talking about Coop last week about helping him out by, completing a higher percentage of passes. This week was 50%. Just kind of talk about, how important that is once again and what you need to do a little different, a little better there to get that up where you want it to be.
Again, I think it comes back to our preparation and our techniques and our fundamentals to where the throw game, a big piece of it is timing and location, to where you got to be consistent with your timing and your rhythm of your drops and as you're progressing through the reads so that the integrity of the protection is good. And then the location of the throws needs to be on point and the guys need to go make contested catches. And when you have the balance that you do because you're able to create a rushing attack early and you're able to generate those one-on-ones because teams are going to load up the box on us to stop our run, we got to show that we're willing and able to be able to throw them out of that heavy box so we can get back to our run game so we can have the complement back and forth of our run and our pass offense attack.
Just talk about Colin in particular. In a lot of ways, he's been everything you thought he would be this year, but and then again, a lot of first-year starter type stuff with him that's kind of holding him back a little bit. Just kind of talk about where he's at and where he's gone and where you see him headed.
Yeah, I mean, he's a first-year starter, right? So there's going to be some growing pains with it, and I continue to believe that he grows and gets better week in and week out. There's things that he continues to stack and build upon, and there's things that he's got to continue to get more and more pictures with so that he knows exactly where the answers are, so that he can think fast, know fast, do fast, and play confidently within the system. I mean, that's where he's going to grow and he's going to flourish, where he knows where his answers are, and he's able to operate and get to them consistently. And when he does that, he plays at a really, really high level, and I look forward to helping him and supporting him to get to that point so that he can do that consistently, play in and play out. That's my job as his coach, to support him in those efforts, and we're going to pour into him And I know that he's going to take those strides as we continue to move forward throughout the course of the season.
Just looking at the season as a whole here before moving on, you've had 5 really tough road games. You're sitting here 2-5, but yet, a lot of, still in a lot of ways a really good football team and have shown it. Were you kind of prepared to be in this position in some ways and be able to deal with like, hey, okay, we are where we are, but, we still have a lot of opportunities here in front of us to do a lot of great things this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't let the situation and the record dictate who I am and who our club is. The character of who we are and the way that we're going to lead, we're going to change the energy. We're going to change the environment. I'm not about being a thermometer. I want to be a thermostat. So whatever the record is, I know what that's what it is. And I know the arena that I stepped into, and that's how we're going to get judged. But at the end of the day here, the only thing that matters is this wagon wheel and getting on the right track so we can string some wins together. And we do that by getting back home, having some good home cooking, keeping our home win streak intact, and playing our brand of football. And we're going to be just fine.
Does this game come at a good time? I mean, obviously it always comes at a good time, but this in particular, after losing a couple games, then, there's no time to think about any of that. We all know who's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you get a chance to play in this ball game, if you can't get up and you can't get excited for this, regardless of what the heck's going on, you need to check your pulse. So I welcome this week, and we do something for this week every single day that we're in our organization. So let's go.
Let's talk about them a little bit. What's different with them this year?
I got a lot of new people. I mean, they did a good job getting into, when they got in shop and hit the transfer portal hard, and they went. I mean, you look at their defensive front. I mean, across the board, you got a transfer from Buffalo, a transfer from Wyoming, another transfer from Syracuse to go along with the other transfers from Syracuse that they had last year. One got a JUCO kid, 2 starting safeties. One's a transfer from Duke, one's a transfer from West Virginia. So they went and added a lot of different pieces. The top 2 wide receivers, one's a transfer from Penn State, one's a transfer from Pitt. Obviously, schematically, they're a little bit different. They're a little bit multiple defensively than what they've been in the years past, and they're a little bit more wide open than what they've been offensively in the past. So they're playing it through their quarterback, who is doing a good job, and you can tell getting a level of comfort with how they've grown and how they've adapted to him and his skill set offensively. They're throwing it around the yard, and when that doesn't work and things break down, he's able to extend it with his feet. So again, they got confidence. You can tell that they're growing confidence. They're in ball games. I mean, shoot, if it's not for a miscue at the end there, I mean, it's under 4 minutes to go in the game last week against Central Michigan. It's 21-21. And Central Michigan gets a scoop and score to put that thing away. But I mean, they're in the games, and they're learning how to compete, and you can tell they're growing confidence. And I know we're going to get their best shot, as they come in here. So we're ready for it. Welcome it. Let's do it.
Talk a little more about Irons. He seems to fall in line with some quarterbacks you faced and already, and what he's able to do with in both ways.
Yeah, I mean, again, another multiple talented dual threat kid that's able to hurt you with his arms and his feet, right? So we got to do a great job, again, containing him, and it's a challenge that we need to rise up to, which we haven't done consistently enough the past couple of weeks. So got to do a great job containing him with our front, keeping eyes on, and then getting multiple hats to him to tackle him and bring him to the ground.
Kind of goes without saying here, I know, but run ball, stop the run. Again, they seem to still be struggling in those areas, although they do seem to be getting better in some ways. But coming into this one, you guys have been able to really do that well against these guys. Obviously, that's going to be the goal again. How exactly do you plan to do that?
Get big guys in front of their big guys and sustain and hold our blocks, and then get our big guys defensively off of their big guys and go tackle the ball carrier.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
No problem, Alan. Don't need to make it harder than it is.
Well, let's keep things moving along. Go to TV2's Jack Birdie. Jack, any questions here for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, you say it all the time. This is your team's first on-field goal every season is to win this wagon wheel. Just how important is this game for the guys in the locker room for you? And just how big is it that you guys get to play for the wheel on Saturday in front of the home crowd? And like you said, get a chance to extend that home winning streak.
Yeah, it's huge. We need to sell out for the wheel. We need to get all Northeast Ohio here, and we need to create an unbelievable home environment the way that we have in the past, so that everyone knows that this is a spot to be in Northeast Ohio. We back in 2019, there was only one person in our organization that ever touched the wheel. And now, we made point and made note to make sure that no one takes this thing for granted, that the wheel just hangs in our locker room. At noon, that thing's going to get put down. It's going to get put down in neutral territory. And until that final whistle blows and there's all zeros on the clock, right, that thing's up for grabs. And with everything that we do through this week in preparation, we have to have a sense of urgency and we have to have an understanding of what the stakes of winning is, especially in this game. And we can't take anything for granted with that. We can't cheat that day-to-day process in any sort of sense. And we got to know and appreciate the history that is this game, the legacy that's been created, and the number of days that that wheel has hung in the proper colors in our locker room. None of that can be taken for granted, and everyone's got to fight and claw and do a little bit extra this week to make sure that that thing comes back into our locker room when all's said and done.
Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's move things along to the voice of the Golden Flashes, Mr. Rob Polinsky. Rob, any questions for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, thanks. Just going back to Saturday for a little bit. First half, obviously, first quarter is going great. Second half, looking at the stats, 30 plays, 91 yards, only 34 yards on the ground and 17 rushes. What did Toledo do specifically differently to, kind of, just make it a tale of two halves?
I mean, they increased their pressure rate a little bit more, but really, Rob, it was a lot of what we failed to do. We didn't handle the movement up front. We got behind schedule, and then we didn't execute to get back on schedule. So we had 5 possessions, 3 of which were 3 and outs because of self-inflicted wounds. And when you do that to yourself against a good football team, that's going to be very hard to overcome.
Did Finn surprise you at all with his ability to throw as well as he did?
No, sir. Knew he was a talented kid coming into it, knew that he was going to be able to attack us in a lot of different ways. And, we got to do a great job containing good players. That's what it's about each and every single week in this league. School down the road's got a lot of good players. We got to contain them, and we got to do a really good job and not take for granted anything that they're capable of doing.
Polk looked really good in the kick returns at times. Can you talk about what that could do for the team, moving forward, and what a weapon he could be in kick returns?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of our most dynamic athletes, most explosive kids with the ball in his hands. So obviously being able to create some touches for him in the return game and obviously offensively as well as the limitations come off of him. It's great to have a playmaker back in the lineup who's played in big-time games before, that welcomes the stage, that wants the ball in his hands, and a guy that you can trust when he has it in his hands. You can never have enough of those guys.
You talked a little earlier about how many transfers that the school down the road has. Obviously, we have some too. My question with that is, do you maybe explain the rivalry to those guys a little bit to make sure that they're aware of? Because now in college football, there are so many transfers of guys playing at different places. Maybe they're not as aware of it. And is that something that you guys address early in the week to get ready for to prep for the Wagon Wheel?
Absolutely. Already done. Took care of it yesterday, and we'll do things a little bit differently this week. Introduce team meetings, give history. We're going to have team meetings each and every single morning. Again, this is a different week. We're not going to go through the same routine, the same pattern of behavior. We're going to get together every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning the way that we usually do. But Tuesday and Wednesday morning will be different, will be unique. I'll have the team in front of me. We're going to talk about the history of it, the importance of it, everything that goes into it. It's something that I picked up from Coach Alvarez. And as soon as you got in the program at Wisconsin, you knew what the Battle of Paul Bunyan's axe was. And everyone's going to know, and everyone does know, they should be acutely aware because of things that we've done through mat drills and winter conditioning, with spring ball and that phase of our prep for the season, with summer conditioning, preseason camp, and now in the season and a part of the hunt. There's an emphasis that's put on this day each and every single day, and the importance of this week. Again, it's different, and I refuse to accept that it's anything else. This is what makes college football great. This is the rivalry that makes things special, and we're going to do things in a different way so everyone knows the importance of this, whether it's your first year or your 5th year in this. Don't take it for granted.
And Coach, finally, just wanted to, could you talk a little bit about the efforts, even though when things weren't going great on Saturday, but defensively, Pierre and Bolden and those guys just continue to make plays, and it seems like almost on every down they're around the ball. Just talk about their efforts and some of the younger guys that are forced to play and how they've done. I know Saunders getting his second start, and some of those guys. What your thoughts are on them?
Yeah, I mean, the standard and the expectation is that our guys are going to play relentlessly hard every single snap, and the good players are the ones that consistently show up and consistently play at a high level. So, I'm the expectation for Marvin, the expectation for DJ Miller, the expectation for Nico Bolden is that they're going to set the tone, and those guys need to step up. And we don't have Caleb John, so Collie needs to step up, and we didn't have CJ Harris, so Rocco needed to step up out of necessity. And that's what this game is. It's just like life. Things are going to happen. Adversity is going to strike, and people in the family need to step up. It's a next man up mentality. The standard's not going to dip. I feel for the guys that can't play. But at the end of the day, at the end of this week, the wheel needs to come home. Point blank, period. That goal ain't changing. That bar ain't coming to us. We got to go get it, and we got to work to the level of what we want. Otherwise, don't be crying at the end of the week if things don't go our way. So, the relentless effort and the desire to get to the ball, that's an expectation. That needs to happen each and every single play, and we need to pursue that, and we need to ingrain that in who we are, in every single sense of who we are and what we do throughout the course of the week. There needs to be a burning desire to be the best version of ourselves today, on Tuesday, on Wednesday, and Thursday, and know and understand that everything we do during the course of the week is going to lead to the output and the outcome that we have on Saturday. We can't just snap our fingers and, hey, it's the wheel, and now there's people in the stands, and we put our uniforms on, and all of a sudden things are magically going to go our way. That's baloney cheese. We got to earn everything that we get, and what we've been doing hasn't been enough the past couple of weeks. So we all got to be better within the organization so that we can earn the right to bring the wheel back into our locker room this week.
Thanks, Sean.
Yes, sir.
Let's kick things over to Tom Evans, the partner in crime with Rob up in the booth.
Hey, Coach, I see that their quarterback completed 43 passes against Ohio early in the year. Is that who they want to be, or is that out of necessity because of the way the game was going for them at the time?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of, I think they're playing to their skill set, and Coach Moorhead knows where his playmakers are and what they're capable of doing, and he trusts the quarterback, so he's putting the ball in his hands. And the way that game played out, it dictated that they had to throw it around a little bit more maybe than they'd like. But, they're over 60% pass to run, so they're throwing a little bit more than they're running it. And, we got to be able to be ready and willing to stop both, because there's going to be some new things that come out this week that we haven't seen because of the rivalry week and the nature of what it is and the amount of offensive football that Coach Moorhead and his staff know.
On the other side of the ball for them, I see Bubba Arslanian leading them in tackles. It seems like he's been leading them in tackles for about the last 8 years.
Yep.
Are they doing things different defensively? What are we going to see from them defensively this year?
There'll be multiple, but Bubba anchors it inside. He's a heck of a player. And like you said, he's been a heck of a player for a very long time. And they were different last year when he was out with his injury, but now he's back. He's an all-MAC performer, and he's continuing to do that. He makes unbelievable plays. He's a great open field tackler, and their D-line is very, very active and does a really good job eating up offensive linemen so that they can't climb to the second level and get to those backers. So they're able to flow and hunt and get to the ball carrier. But you're going to see a lot of different structure from them. Okie fronts, even fronts, lots of different coverages. They want to come up and press you and challenge you on the edge. So, it's going to be a great grab your lunch pail, Northeast Ohio wagon wheel game, but we're going to have to get it on and we're going to have to earn it.
One last one, Coach. It seems like everybody's defenses today are playing 19, 20 kids, just have to out of necessity because of the pace of the offensive play. And we're banged up a little bit defensively. Is some of that due to that brutal non-league schedule, or are these what's happening kind of? I know you don't expect injuries, but is this just kind of the normal attrition that you think a season would take on kids?
I mean, we always have guys that go down because of the attrition of the season. We always have kids that step up, and the reason and the variance of that year in and year out, it's always a little bit different. And this year's is not unique to that, right? So again, we got some guys up, we got some guys down. No one wants to hear about the excuses of why it is. It is what it is. Let's go get it on. And we got a lot of good kids and a lot of great coaches that are going to work really, really hard this week to get the job done so we can get a win and keep our wheel at home and keep our home winning streak intact.
Great stuff. Thanks, Coach.
Yes, sir.
We'll open it up for a second round of questions here for Coach. All right, guys. Coach, like you said, it's not a normal week. We'll see you Thursday for the coaches show, and then we'll get it on at noon for the wheel on Saturday.
Sounds great, guys. Appreciate all that you do. Go Flashes.